Hey everybody, Casey here with Life Abstract Gaming, and with Halloween right around the corner, I thought it would be fitting to talk about some of the things outside of actual horror games that gamers specifically find to be totally frightening. Last year, my Halloween video revolved around people's love of horror media. If you haven't seen it, please do check it out. But this time around, we're not looking at made-up stories. Any one of these scary tales can happen to any one of us in real life. In fact, most of these things did happen to me. But I know I'm not the only one. Loss of save data. Have you ever come back to your house after a long day of school or a weekend at a relative's house, ready to plop down in front of your TV with the latest RPG you've been grinding away on for months? You've already beaten the final boss weeks ago, but there's still so much rare gear and secret items that you're discovering because you've reached such a high level in-game that the entire world is yours to pick clean. Only you boot up your game and see that your save file is missing. The words "new game" or "no data" staring back at you with cold indifference, to your shock and disbelief. You power cycle the game console, check your memory card, pray to the gods, but your save file is gone, and there's nothing you can do to get it back. This was the horror I lived through after dedicating 100 plus hours to Phantasy Star Online on the GameCube. I had systematically collected almost every rare weapon, maxed out my character and my gear, and found out that my younger brother had deleted my save game to make room for Madden. Sharing the controller. Speaking of siblings or any other unwanted player 2s, have you ever been in the middle of playing a game, something you're enjoying greatly, only to have a younger cousin, neighbor, or sibling come in and ask, "Can I play?" It's a one-player game, you say, hoping that will discourage their attempts, but they don't leave. Instead they say, "Well, I'll play next after you." But you know, this isn't a game where you take turns. This is your game, your character, your progress. You can't just take over my player. You'd have to start your own character, go through the beginning of the story. There's not multiple save slots. Your explanation, however, falls on deaf ears. They don't understand why you can't just hand over the controller, so they call in the parents, who then make you hand it over. You're forced to watch as this monster uses up all your special items, stuff you were saving for a big boss battle, and throws your strongest weapon off of a bridge because they like only the knife. And all the while, the autosave icon keeps flashing in the corner of the screen. Your parent is pleased that you've shared. The person destroying your game progress is pleased that you've shared. But you're sitting in a living hell, and everyone around you is laughing. Getting caught playing while not allowed. On the subject of parents, when you're young, they're the gatekeepers of all your joy. If you're acting up, you'd better believe mom and dad are turning off your TV, taking away your toys, and banning you from playing video games. No video games were always a favorite punishment my mom would give me. But those things were hooked up to the TV, and my not-so-tech-savvy mom wasn't interested in disconnecting it from its resting place, so she just let me know I'm not allowed to play until my punishment was done. But parents gotta work, and when you're home in the afternoon or on a weekend bored with nothing interesting to do, that game console just calls out to you. There's nobody here. No one will know, just a few quick games. You're hypnotized by the console's call. Before you know it, you're back playing your games, and you're so deep under the spell that you haven't realized that hours have gone by. You hear the rattle of the doorknob and the familiar jingle of keys. She's back! A wave of terror rushes over your body. You're right next to the door. There isn't the slightest chance that you could shut off the system, change the input back to the TV, and roll up the controllers before she comes through and catches you red-handed. Now, you're in even more trouble with your parents. Pretty terrifying. Hardware failure. But what's more terrifying than your beloved source of joy, your console, dying completely? Sometimes it starts out small. You put a disc in the tray, and after spinning up, it weirdly comes to a halt and shows you a message to clean the disc off. No big deal. I've seen this before. I just grabbed my t-shirt and wiped the disc down. Circular motions and all that. It did have a couple smudges on it, but those are gone now. Again, disk error. You're starting to get worried. This game was just working like 2 hours ago. Let me try a different disk. Disk error. Now you're definitely worried. Is something wrong with the disk reader? Maybe I'll get some compressed air and clean out some dust. You do just that, but now it's not just unable to read disks, it won't even acknowledge that there's a disk in the tray. The entire console isn't working the way it's supposed to. It's spitting out errors for every little thing you do. You can't play a single game. You need to call for help. But tech support tells you you're out of warranty. They can't even cut you a break because it's been done for like a year now. And now you're left with a worthless $300 to $400 plastic brick. Can't really get much worse than that, right? Robbery. This is another story that actually did happen to me, and it's just as sad as it was scary for a young kid to come to the realization that some people can't be trusted. My family had just returned home one Sunday from church. Sunday afternoons, my brothers and I were usually completely free to do whatever we wanted with our time, so of course we chose video games. It was only a few minutes after walking into the door of our bedroom before we realized that the Super Nintendo and all its games that sat atop a dresser next to a small CRTV was not there. That was weird, but we did know that our mom was planning to move a lot of our gaming stuff to the basement where my uncle was staying. He was in the process of moving out, and it was very possible he moved it for us. He used to play games with us as well. We lived in a two-family house on the top floor, with tenants on the ground floor and our uncle in the basement. We headed down there to see that the space was empty, just a few couches but no TV and no game system for sure. While coming back upstairs, we were catching wind of our parents now finding that certain belongings of theirs were also missing. I remember a sinking feeling washing over me as the idea that some stranger broke into our house and took our things became the dominant theory. But that wasn't the case. The oldest son of our downstairs tenant was the one who broke into our house. Apparently he was a drug user and sold most of what he took, so we didn't get any of our game collection back once the truth was finally discovered. The remorseful father bought us a replacement SNES with a copy of Fatal Fury, a pretty decent gesture to make up for a really awful situation. But I'm pretty sure that guy had to move out. I hope you guys enjoyed these tales of a gamer's worst nightmares. This was a little bit of a different kind of a video. Maybe I'll do more in this nature in the future. Just let me know. So, what are some of your gaming related horror stories? Have any of the things I talked about happened to you? Let us know. We're listening.